want to be able to learn how to read more intelligently and what, in essence, that means. For context, I'm hoping to start a family before too terribly long, and we're wanting to homeschool, but I'm not sure how to teach all the deep meanings and ideas from texts and help my children see the connections for the great conversation when I don't see them myself while I read. I know a lot of people say read more, and I've read quite a lot of classic works, but when I sit with it alone, I can tell the story is a good one, but I'm not great at articulating why. I'm not good at pulling out all these complex themes and connections and drawing parallels between the work and modern life the way you and your dad do so well. What can I do to try and have a thorough understanding of the meaningful, complex parts of these books so that I can pass it on? Okay. This is a great question to be asking when it comes to the Divine Comedy because, as I said, this is a big book, right? And a lot of people feel, especially as if, you know, there's just so much kind of inner reference. There are so many coded, meanings and gestures in the text that I don't understand. And, like when I went into that stuff about the Welfs and the Ghibellines, right? Now that you know that, a lot of these references are going to become slightly more clear. I mean, a lot of Dante's like political concerns have to do with that experience, that Welf-Ghibelline divide, that exile. But no matter what, everybody, unless you devote your life to studying a text, right, is going to come at something like this and feel a certain kind of inadequacy, right? I'm going to feel like there's just a lot of stuff flying by my head. There's a lot of stuff that I don't get. And I think, you mentioned in this question that you are not new to classical literature. It's not like this is like something you've never tried before. It's just that you still feel like there's a lot that is passing you by that, you can't kind of dig out on your own steam. And so my first piece of advice is to read together with other people. And that can be a great addition. Like, we've been using and we'll continue to use different editions of the text of the Divine Comedy. But it can also mean getting together with other people, especially if you're homeschooling. I mean, there are a lot of homeschooling organizations. I don't know where you are, but in many places there are homeschooling communes, parents groups and so forth, that have resources to help you with this and that also will be eager to sit with you and discuss, right? So having a reading group, right, a book group of your own is a good way, first of all, to learn how to model that for your kids when you're doing homeschooling, but also just, means that you don't have to stand on your own resources, right? I mean, that's why this show has been here, right, is so that you can have a kind of outline, a guide, right, that will lead you in. And all that background context is helpful. The more you have of it, the more you have to work with when you're drawing out these meanings. But really, I think the best kind of exegesis takes that information, whatever information you may have, whether it's great or small, and applies it to the kind of grander significance of things. And that is something you can do in conversation, right? Especially if there's things you don't understand. Why is this important? Why is this text good? Why is this line here, right? If your friend, it doesn't matter that your friends are like not experts in Dante. If you ask them that, then they might say, well, I don't know, but I thought this, and I thought maybe this, right? And then maybe you can together go look up like whether there are some great answers, from scholarship to this question. So relationship is really important here, right? Gathering with others regularly, especially if you pick a text to approach together, because that's what you're really going to be doing with your kids, right? And that's what they need out of you, right? They don't need you to know the meaning of every text as if that's a thing, right? That's not a thing, right? The text is its own meaning, right? They don't need you to have some like final answer. They just need you to be able to point them through to some good procedures on the way. And that will mean, I think, mostly bringing them good additions, asking them good questions, and having a little bit of engagement with others about the text yourself so that they're not going in totally blind and neither are you. So I would say get together with people, seek out editions that kind of give you information that is valuable. I mean, most scholarly editions or even popular editions will have like some of the information I was giving you about the Welfs and the Ghibellines and so forth. And some of that, some of the structural stuff we'll talk about next week. So, read the introduction and get that, background information where you can, but also share with others your perplexity, right? Talk to other people about like specific questions that you have about the text, read them together and discuss, and then bring that same spirit to your kids. And you might be amazed that there's like a lot in this text, in these texts, in these great works, that comes just from sitting and puzzling about them and asking these questions.